Okay, now refraction of your plane wave, refraction of your plane wave particulation. So now if I'm drawing a normal right now here, so this one is your normal and this one is your also your normal right now. So this represents right now for me what? Angle of incidence I, isn't it? And here by the time it is been taken, say for example, this is the point of your A, and in between this, how many waves are being present there, beta? N number of your waves. So if I take the points which are in the same state of a vibration, this particle, this particle, this particle, this particle, like this, if I attach all of them, we'll be getting a wavefront like this. So this one is known as of your incident wavefront. This one is your incident wavefront. And this angle is known as of your angle of incidence. That is nothing but of your I, isn't it? Now when it is entering from rarer medium to denser medium, so this is say for example P and Q, it bends towards the normal like this. So this represents me the angle of refraction. This is your point of your B. By the time B reaches to the point of your C, beta, by the time the B reaches to the point C, A might have been reached to a new position somewhere here. Like say for example, this is the position of your E, isn't it? So if I take the locus of all the points which are in the same state of your vibration, attaching them right now, so I'll be getting a wavefront somewhat like this. So this is your wavefront which we'll be getting. So this will represent me the angle of refraction, that is nothing but of your R. That is nothing but of your R particulation. So by the time A reaches the E, B will be reaching your C particulation. That means the distance traveled by this particle is right now from here to here. This BC will be equal to how much for me? Velocity V1 into T. That means velocity in this medium is V1. Velocity in this medium is nothing but V2. Obviously, V2 is lesser than V1 from the ray optics chapter V2. The same way, this distance traveled will be equal to how much better? This will be equal to V2 into your T particulation, isn't it? Now see, if I apply the little bit of your trigonometry in the triangle, ABC, see now the triangle ABC, sine I will be equal to how much better? Sine I is equals to your, it will be your BC divided by your AC. BC is nothing but what? Velocity V1 into T divided by this one is of your AC. The same way, if I'm taking in triangle ACE, see the figure ACE. So I'll be writing from this one, sine R is equals to AE divided by your AC. AE is how much better right now? V2 into T divided by this one is nothing but of your AC. I is your angle of incidence, R is your angle of refraction right now. So from this given condition, I can write sine I, divide both of them, sine I divided by your sine R is equals to, this one is V1 into T divided by your AC divided by V2 into T divided by your AC. This one will get cancelled right now. So that will be equal to T, and T also gets cancelled. This is V1 by your V2, isn't it? So now angle of refraction is as R is lesser than of your I, that means V2 will be lesser than of your V1. That means speed of light in the second medium is lesser than the speed of light in the first medium. That what exactly we know. You know from the ray optics right now, mu1 is equals to C by your V1. And similarly, refractive index, mu2 is equals to C by your V2. I can get the value of V1 and V2 from this one, beta. V1 is equals to mu1 into C, and from this one, V2 is equals to mu2 into your C. So therefore, I can write from this relation, sine I by sine R, sine I by your sine R is equals to, what is sine I by sine R? You got see V1 by V2. So it is V1 is mu1 divided by C divided by mu2 into C. This one gets cancelled. So it will be written right now as sine I by your sine R. Sine I by your sine R is equals to your, what in relation right now here? Mu1 by your mu2. Antena? So it is V1 by your V2. V1 is equals to your V1 by your V2 particulation. V1 is equals to, sorry, I did a mistake here. Sorry.
C by
Sorry. So this is your V1. So where is this? Yeah. V1 is equals to, from this one, V1 is equals to C by your mu1. The same way here, V2 is equals to C by your mu2. So sine I1 I will be writing as V1. V1 is equals to C by mu1 divided by C by your mu2. So this C gets cancelled. So this will become for me mu2 by your mu1. So if I cross multiply and write it out, we'll be getting the Snell's law. This one is mu1 into your sine I is equals to your mu2 into your sine of your R. So this is the proof of your Snell's law, which you have studied in your ray optics directly. So this represents your Snell's law. isn't it? So mu1 into sine I is equals to mu2 into your sine R. So it was been explained by your Huygens by a phenomenon called as of your wave theory, by assuming it as of your wave theory. In the simple diagram, if I know the incident wavefront, and this will be your reflected or refracted, this one will be your refracted wavefront, isn't it? So when a ray of light is coming from rarer medium to denser medium, velocity of light is more in rarer compared to your denser medium. So that is the reason when it is coming, it is bending towards the normal. So taking into the little bit of your geometrical consideration and simplifying it out, we are getting the relation mu1 into sine I is equals to your mu2 into your sine R. That was an assumption made by the Huygens principle. He could able to explain the Snell's law very comfortably. That is mu1 into sine I is equals to your mu2 into your sine R part of a relation. Now if I am writing in terms of your wavelength beta, so I can write even in terms of your wavelength right now, lambda 1, lambda 2 denotes the wavelength of your light right now. So BC will represents me how much right now? BC will represents me the wavelength lambda 1 and AE represents me the distance that is nothing but lambda 2. Because if the crust of the B is reaching the crust of your C, then that will be the relation right now. That means BC by your, I'm writing here itself, you see, BC divided by your AE is nothing but how much for me? Lambda 1 by your lambda 2. That is nothing but of your V1T divided by your V2 into T. That is nothing but V1 by V2. That means V1 by V2 is also written as of your lambda 1 by lambda 2. So here itself I'm writing this can also be written as of your lambda 1 by your lambda 2 part of relation. That means when a wave gets refracted in a denser medium, V1 will be greater than V2 and wavelength and the speed propagation decreases, but frequency will always remain for me same. So here in this one, what is remaining same? F is same. F is same, but speed of propagation and wavelength this will be decreasing. Wavelength decreases, speed of propagation and denser medium also decreases, but only the frequency will be remaining for me the same. So this was the proof of your refraction by your Huygens principle part of relation. So if you have any doubt related to this one, please let me know better. Dhamendra, so we have done with your theories in this one right now. The first part is today what we have done is light. Light has a dual nature. Whether light will behave or particle, it depends upon its interaction with the surrounding. Phenomena like interference, diffraction, polarization can be explained assuming the light as wave. Whereas photoelectric effect can be explained assuming the light as of your what? Particle nature. Now in the same way, if I am going for the Newton's corpusculus theory, some around in 1675, Newton's theory has been given. He has given some assumptions. Huygens wave theory assumptions also you can study it out from this one right now. Next one is about your Maxwell's electromagnetic wave theory. Then we are also having the Planck's quantum theory and dual nature that we'll do it in the further sections. The next we talked about your refraction and reflection of your plane wave using the Huygens principle. Huygens has been told that whatever the light is coming from the source, it is always in the form of what? A wavefront, in the form of a wavefront. And we have three different types of a wavefront: spherical, cylindrical, and as well as of your plane. The one which is being taken, that every time whenever the source is being taken, at that point you draw the circle, that will be acting as of a secondary source, and the envelope which is being covering, that will be acting as of your secondary source, and it will always be moving in the front direction part of relation. So we explained the phenomenon of your refraction of your plane wave using the given condition. When a ray of light is going from rarer medium to denser medium, obviously the velocity of light in the rarer medium is more compared to your denser medium. By using the little bit of your trigonometric conditions right now, we have taken the incident wavefront and refracted wavefront. Applying the sin I and sin R rule, we got the Snell's law condition right now in this one. That is mu1 into sin I is equals to mu2 into sin R. Our frequency for this will always remain same, but speed of the propagation and wavelength will be decreasing when a ray of light is going from the rarer medium to your denser medium. Any doubt in this one, beta?
No, sir.
This is still theory, but actual part of the wave optics is coming sessions. We'll start actually from your interference particulation. These are something which requires a lot of study from your NCERT especially, because it involves a lot of theory rather than any other understanding particulation. Have you studied the S.C. Verma? What do you call that one? NCERT or S.C. Verma, the wave optics yesterday? You please try to start studying that one. Okay, that's almost like 6:24. We will try to continue with the remaining part in the tomorrow session of the class data. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.